Hi, I'm Kristin Feay, an Assistant Curator at the Petersen Automotive Museum, and today I'm going to take you through some highlights of our newest exhibition, A Fast and Furious Legacy, 25 Years of Automotive Icons. The Fast and the Furious debuted in 2001 and quickly became one of Universal Pictures' most popular and culturally influential film franchises. The film followed a group of young street racers, led by Dominic Toretto, and undercover cop Brian O'Connor, as they navigated loyalty, rivalry, and identity on the streets of East Los Angeles. The film soon became known for its exciting chase sequences, memorable characters, and endearingly melodramatic dialogue. The franchise would grow to encompass over 10 films and take the Toretto crew around the world in nearly every vehicle imaginable. But the franchise's impact on automotive culture has been no less dramatic. Countless modern tuners cite the franchise not only as their introduction to automotive culture, but the very inspiration behind their careers. And whether it is through the restoration of screen-used vehicles or the building of meticulous JDM-inspired customs, the franchise continues to unite and inspire a devoted family of automotive enthusiasts around the world. Today, we've put together, in partnership with Universal Pictures, an exhibition of 23 screen-used vehicles and production prototypes from throughout the series, representing its most iconic builds and capturing its most memorable moments. And perhaps one of the most memorable and iconic builds of the series is the 1993 Toyota Supra driven by Brian O'Connor in The Fast and the Furious. Now, this vehicle was based on the 1994 customized Toyota Supra Turbo owned by Craig Lieberman, who was at that time working for Super Street magazine and organized the National Import Racing Association, or NIRA. He would later become the technical advisor for the early films in the franchise. For production, filmmakers cast Craig Lieberman's custom vehicle and decided to up the drama a little bit. They painted it a dramatic shade of Lamborghini orange and gave it custom graphics by Modern Image. This was designed to make the car pop against the background cars in the series and represented Brian's irreverent yet resourceful personality. This vehicle here is one of nearly 8 identical Supras built for filming. This is Stunt number 3, which was a 1993 model used to film action sequences in the film. One of the things that makes the Fast and the Furious franchise most popular is the relatability of its characters. Dom, Brian, Letty, and Mia were essentially just kids from the streets of Los Angeles. It wasn't until they got behind the wheels of their cars that they transformed into what you could almost call superheroes. Now, the very first time that audiences would see Fast and Furious characters race is in the very first street race scene of the very first movie. The contest would pit Dominic Toretto, Danny Yamato, Edwin, and Brian against each other in a 4-way street race. Now, typically, real-life urban drag races generally pit 2 cars against each other, but filmmakers wanted a particularly dramatic effect, and so instead cast 4 vehicles to give a little pop to the scene. Each vehicle in the street race was again sourced from real-life JDM-inspired customs. To make them pop on screen, filmmakers added bright colors and custom graphics to differentiate them from background cars in the scene. Now, the very first car that audiences would see Letty Ortiz driving is a 1995 Nissan 240SX. This car had a particularly dramatic design, which reflected Letty's social standing and respectability in the street racing community. It was based off of a real-life custom that is thought to be one of the first US-based customs to feature a kooky or new generation front end and an SR20 DET engine swap in place of the original KA unit. Like Letty, Suki and her all-female racing team are often viewed as some of the most inspirational female figures in the Fast and Furious franchise. Suki's Honda S2000, with its bold graphics and technical layout, reflects her bold and fearless personality. For filming, multiple copies of the original custom owned by R.J. de Vera were created for production. This is the Hero No. 1 car, which was the original custom owned by R.J. de Vera, who was Super Street magazine editor at the time. It is highly tuned for performance, featuring a Comtech supercharger, and was also one of the first customs in the US to feature a rare Millennium body kit by legendary tuner supplier Veilside. Reflecting the global popularity of the series, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift was the first film in the Fast saga to be set outside of the United States. In the film, American Sean Boswell must learn to drift in a 2005 Mitsubishi Evo 8. In the film, the Evo 8 was gifted to him by Han and serves as his training vehicle as he learns to drift and eventually race villain DK. The Mitsubishi Evo used in the film was based off of a real-life custom created by tuning part supplier APR Performance. 10 replicas of the car were built for filming, but all were crushed after production, making this vehicle, the production prototype built by APR Performance, the only surviving Tokyo Drift Evo. As the Fast saga matured, its vehicles became storytelling devices and offered continuity between the growing number of films in the franchise. They also became representations of their characters' personal histories and personal character. Dominic Toretto has traditionally been associated with muscle cars throughout the series, even though he is first seen driving a Mazda RX-7 in the very first street race of the film. This 1970s Chevelle SS was first seen at the ending credits scene of The Fast and the Furious, and serves to offer continuity as Dominic Toretto is reintroduced in The Fast and the Furious 2009. Brian O'Connor has typically been associated with JDM-inspired customs and import models, providing a foil to Dominic Toretto's predominantly muscle car-driven imagery. Since the very first race in The Fast and the Furious, Brian O'Connor has been synonymous with JDM-inspired customs and import brands. Furious 7 imagined Brian in an updated version of the Skyline that he drives in Fast and Furious, the Nissan GT-R Track Edition. The A80 Supra, however, has perhaps remained the most iconic car associated with Brian's character. Introduced in The Fast and the Furious, its nimble, reliable, and youth-oriented design represented Brian's enduring connection to the tuner scene of the late 1990s and the community that developed around it. In the Fast saga, costumes work alongside the vehicles to create a distinctive visual language that represents and reinforces their characters' personalities and their trajectory throughout the film's storylines. To create the film's iconic look, costume designer Sanja Malechevich Hayes sourced looks from Los Angeles street style and contemporary Japanese fashion magazines. With the rising popularity of over-the-top action films in the 2010s, Fast and Furious filmmakers began to incorporate increasingly elaborate and extreme stunts in their films. To create these stunts, they relied on a combination of practical effects, real-world stunt driving, and computer-assisted imagery. This also included, for the first time, designing fully customized vehicles for the franchise. The flip car first appeared in 2013's Fast and Furious 6, and would later make a cameo appearance in an updated version, the Flip Car 2.0, in Fast 10. Like the original flip car, this flip car was based on a Formula One car. It was also fully functional. Built by Dennis McCarthy of Vehicle Effects, each of its wheels features independent steering, which allows it to crab sideways during stunt sequences. A real-world proliferation of automotive technologies and designs that occurred during the 2010s in America ensured that filmmakers had a wide variety from which to choose to characterize and cast their characters' personalities. In Fast and Furious 6, Roman Pierce drives this, a 1969 Ford Mustang. This Mustang was customized by Anvil Performance to showcase the firm's carbon fiber performance parts. Reinforcing its status as a respected and meticulous custom, it won Ford's Best of Show at 2010 SEMA. The car features both aesthetic and performance upgrades. It is fully functional, and its engine is tuned to produce over 805 horsepower. This is the actual Hero No. 1 custom that all replicas built for filming were based on. But perhaps one of the most enduring legacies of the Fast and Furious franchise is its community of passionate and enthusiastic fans. Whether it is through building tribute builds or participating in cruise-ins, the franchise has inspired a global community of fans that is perhaps one of the most far-reaching of any American pop cultural film franchise. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me, Kristin Feay, on this brief tour of a Fast and Furious legacy, 25 Years of Automotive Icons. Now, there's a large material that we were not able to cover in this video, so I really encourage you to get down here and see it all for yourself. The exhibition is open from March 14, 2026, and will run for about a year through April 2027. We hope that as you walk the gallery, you experience the different eras of the Fast and Furious franchise, and remember your own Fast and Furious memories. We truly hope that you enjoy experiencing the exhibition just as much as we enjoyed creating it.